What's up, guys? It's KB. Make sure you subscribe to the Underground Sports Philadelphia YouTube channel. Click the bell icon down below so you don't miss a single video from us. And thanks for tuning in to another video from Underground Sports Philadelphia. Now let's get into it.
Philadelphia, baby, you're gonna love it. Best sports fans in the world. Actually, the worst, but that's what makes them the best.
It's it. Hey, everyone.
What?
I said I did, and I said, hey, everyone.
Yeah. Hello, everyone.
Welcome back.
Welcome to episode number 63? 64?
No, you're right. 63, sorry.
Oh, 63. All right. Welcome to episode number 63 of the F1 Underground podcast. As always, my name is Owen. That is my sister, Casey. We talk everything F1. We are slowly but surely branching into IndyCar stuff as we both kind of become obsessed with it. Just like we got obsessed with F1. So we talk about that a little bit. And by a little bit, I mean literally the past two episodes. And I think that's it.
Well, the best is that you've literally started like fully watching races for like the two most chaotic races.
Yes. Yeah.
Indy 500 and Detroit.
Yeah, that was very chaotic. But yes, welcome. If you're new here, we are a weekly podcast. Like I said, we talk about F1 stuff. We talk a little bit about IndyCar stuff, slowly branching into other different motorsports categories and whatnots. But we appreciate you joining. If you are interested in following our show, following us, or following our network of podcasts, the Underground Sports Network, please go follow us on our socials. It is at Underground F1 on Threads and Instagram, and Underground_F1 on X/Twitter, whatever you want to call it. We also have our personal accounts. Casey, I'm blanking on your Threads and everything right now, but my personal Threads is Underground F1_Owen.
Well,
so go follow me.
I use the podcast page as my personal one, so.
So there you go. So it's Underground F1 for Casey.
Yeah. I mean, some people follow my personal Instagram, but yeah, I use the Threads as my normal one. But yes.
But yeah, welcome. Today we're gonna do our Canadian GP preview episode. It's also our watch party preview episode.
Yes.
Super excited for that. Very, 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 very excited for that. We're also going to cover some weekly news. There's been a driver signing, and there has been a driver leaving news since the last time we talked. Yeah, get the fuck out of here. And then we're going to cover the IndyCar Detroit GP just a tiny little bit. Like we said, we're starting. It's very surface level conversations with that. There is a history with Owen in regards to the Canadian GP, and then we'll do our little Canadian GP race preview. And that will be all.
Well, first, before we get to meme of the week, this is one of the questions I post on Threads. If you have any questions, Linus wants to know: are you prepared to talk nicely about Lance Stroll because it's his home race?
I'll say this. Here's how I'll treat it. We are from Philly. We treat our sports very differently here. Just because the Philadelphia Phillies play here doesn't mean that we talk nice about them sometimes.
True that.
Because the Flyers or the Eagles play here means we talk about them all the time nicely. So, sorry, Linus, but no. He's still. I'm being petty here. I'm holding a grudge. He still has not taken responsibility for what happened with him and Daniel. So until that happens, he's at the bottom of my shit list. I'll say
unless they did it obviously off camera. They did it on their own stuff, but yeah, that's still a situation that rubs us the wrong way. But yeah, okay.
Sorry, Linus.
There's some other questions that we actually got today. We actually got 3. That was one of them. So
good. I read the questions. They were good. Actually, I want to pull them up, so I have them up.
Well, the Paddock Passion one is good because we've been talking about how good the Red Bull admin is on Threads.
Yes.
So that one's why. But yes, okay, meme of the week. Do you want me to go first or you want to go first?
I'll go first because mine's pretty weak, so you can follow it up.
Hold on.
I know what yours is too, so it's much better.
How do you know what mine is?
Because I saw it on your picture that you posted before we started recording. So this is just Yuki Tsunoda's face with a very awkward smile on it. The tagline is really what makes a meme, and it says, "My honest reaction to the Perez extension." And it's just people being this like, okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's pretty weak for me on this week, but I couldn't find anything. I was really struggling with it. I thought this was decent because why I like the Perez extension, I know this is probably a little bit of how the community feels, so that's why I thought it was funny.
Well, because it's like also like one of the worst kept secrets in like Formula One. So like everyone knew it was coming. Okay, so my meme of the week is the continuation of the Oscar Piastri, Ollie Bierman, Charles Leclerc family. Okay, so there's a little bit I have to explain it. So everyone saw Ferrari posted this picture today.
I didn't see this one.
No, oh yeah, this is even better. So Ferrari posted the picture of the Leclerc brothers today, and I think they just posted like 2 Leclerc brothers. McLaren was quick and says 3, and they Photoshop Oscar in the background,
creeping in the background,
creepily sitting there. Charles Leclerc is quick to say, "What the heck?" Charles Leclerc is quick to say after 4, and he puts Leo in there, and then Ollie Bierman replies with an upside down, like the smiley face emoji, because Ollie Bierman is the poor forgotten child. Like,
yeah,
like what the heck? There is other responses. Let me find it because it did go back and forth. Oscar then replied.
I love that this is gone for weeks now. I mean, this is what, week 3 or 4 of this joke running.
Yeah, and like that's what everyone's like. Is Oscar looking to see who can like adopt him in Canada? Like, is it the Strolls? And I'm like, obviously he doesn't care because he's still loving being a part of the Leclerc family. So Oscar retweets Charles' tweet and says, "When's the official family photo?" and tags him ?
Good. That needs to happen.
Mm-hmm. And then I think he then goes on to complain about the Photoshop and how he's he replies to this before he retweets and says, "That's more like it, but what am I doing around the corner?" And I was like, I'm cracking up because it's like he thinks like McLaren's the reason why he's photoshopped in the corner.
That's true. That's true. It was his own team that put him creepily behind the corner.
It wasn't like it was Charles. I'm shocked he was able to. Well, he definitely didn't add Leo. I don't know who added Leo, but yeah, I was like, that's definitely. It's not because Charles put you back there. It's because McLaren put you back there.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
I hope it keeps going. When I brought up the what's it called? When I brought up the like saying like is he trying to figure out if he has Canadian roots or who's going to adopt him? And someone said, well, he has the next race figured out because he's like Alonso. I said, oh yeah, him and Alonso have a family bond for Alpine hatred. And I was like, and Oscar's not going to try and have Carlos adopt him. That's not going to go very well.
That's not going to work at all.
No.
Absolutely.
Yeah, no, not at all. But yes, that is our meme of the week. Moving on to weekly news. As we said, there is actually 2 pieces of news that we can talk about.
Big pieces, yeah.
We can kind of maybe brainstorm 2 different things because now there's an open seat at a certain team and then where other drivers have to go, but we don't have to spend long on that. But first, we wanted to, if you are a visual watcher, the YouTube watchers, they're at the scrolly ticker tape thing, you were going to be seeing a coupon code, or an online coupon code. What are you laughing at?
Your scrolly ticker tape thing.
Yeah, whatever it's called. It's called IPF1 Store. I'm sure you've seen. They're amazing on Threads. They're very interactive.
It's so cool.
I'm sure you've seen me post about this. So they drew that picture from the Japanese Grand Prix with the cherry blossoms and the car going on the track, and it's literally might be one of my favorite things I own. I bought it so quick, and it came with this sick little wooden stand, and this is not just like a piece of paper. Like this is a piece of cardboard. So like not just cardboard, but it's like, but yeah,
it's good quality. Good quality. Yeah.
It's not just like a print that I have hanging up. Like I have it on this little stand and it sits on my desk here all the time. But yes, we are working with them. So they have given us the code Underground10. It's UNDRGRD10 for 10% off when shopping at their online store. And they have sick prints of everything, like drivers, pictures. Like they'll take like that's a picture that a photographer posted and took, and they like redid it. So yeah, it's sick. I highly recommend. So yes, please. If you're going on and shopping, use the code Underground10. It'll be scrolling at the bottom of the podcast for the entire time. But as again, it's Underground. It's UNDRGRD10, and then at IPF1store.com. Highly recommend. So check them out.
They have. I'm looking at their website right now. I know what I'm buying.
Is it Orlando?
No, it's a McLaren's tribute livery to Art and Senna. It's a mug. So
that's cool.
Hold on, I'm sharing my screen because you got to see it. It looks so cool. I'm 100% buying this.
Oh, that's sick. That's sick.
I want an F1 mug, and this is perfect. Like,
yeah, that's cool.
Oh, I'm 100% buying that.
Yeah, that's cool. But yes, highly recommend. So, like you see, you can get the drawings on literally anything. The picture that I have, a print that you can hang up like on the wall, or even a mug. So,
or even a mug.
Even a mug. But yes, weekly news. As we said, there's a driver that's left, and a driver. Well, he's still in there, but he will be leaving his team at the end of the season. And then there's a driver that's staying. First. Yeah, because this one, I think this one's pretty major. This one definitely is, I think, bigger news than Checo. But
yeah, so for anyone who isn't aware or gets their news through us, Esteban Ocon and Alpine have agreed that at the end of the 2024 season, so this current season, they will be parting ways. It's pretty much to me at least, it's pretty much the polite way of saying you're fired. That's what it feels like to me. Especially after Monaco, when Bruno said that there was going to be consequences for the whole mess between him and Pierre, and then boom, a week later, he's out of the team at the end of the year. Like you said, he's still driving right now. He said to, I was reading Mark Schofield's article, our friend Mark's article about it, and he said that he was going to make an announcement soon, or like make a decision soon about where he's going to end up.
It posted he put like in due course about where he is going or whatever. So.
Yeah. So he's got something up his sleeve.
Yeah. Definitely.
The one thing I was trying to think about this a little bit deeper than just like, oh, he's leaving. And a question kind of arose in my mind, and I want to know your thoughts, Case, of like what we saw in Monaco between Pierre and Esteban. Now that it's out there in the world and confirmed that he's done at the end of the year, are we going to see something like that again? Because now even if he has something set up already, right?
That's a good question.
Is he now in the mindset of I'm driving for a job, so I need to score higher, I need to place better in qualifying, I need to show that I can do this? And are we going to see instances, maybe not with Pierre, but with other drivers like the one we saw with Pierre in Monaco?
That's a very good question. You bring up a good point. I want to compare it to. It's different, but there's another driver that's without a seat right now. I want to compare it to Carlos. And because, I mean, he's still, if not, I'm seeing it more now that he is being a team player, because I think he doesn't have a seat and he needs to put that out there. Like, so I don't know. I mean, we heard that radio message from Pierre before saying like he had priority. Well, at this point, Pierre should be getting priority now for the rest of the season, because as far as we know, I think they chose a side, and Pierre, I would at this point say, is staying. But I don't know. I think Monaco might have been a wake-up call for Esteban in a like, oh, maybe I do have a problem when it comes to teammates, because I mean he didn't have a clean track record with Alonso. He didn't have a clean track record with. I didn't watch all the time, but I can't remember if him and Checo ever had like bad like blood
major
or whatever when they drove. Yeah. But, like we know for a fact him and Alonso didn't get along. They like came over the radio one time during a race, and they were like, "You need to work together."
Yeah.
So I I don't think he will continue. I don't know if we get another Monaco incident. I don't know if we get like he's just like going into everyone, because at the end of the day, Alpine's losing more money because they have to keep repairing the car, and then you're hurting the team.
Right, that's a good
obviously
point.
Obviously the team that literally kicked you to the curb, but no, I don't think we see him be awful, like be an awful, even more of a worse, like bad teammate in some aspects. I think he does. Like I said, I think it was a wake-up call, and a good wake-up call, that he needs to get it together, because then it's an individual sport, but it's also a team sport. So, like, if he goes to, obviously, he gets another seat, he's going to have another teammate, so he's got to work with someone again. But, yeah, no, I don't think he goes. I mean, Alpine was real quick. They posted, like, yesterday, like, right after the announcement, or not soon after, or maybe today. It was, like, a picture, and it was, for me, Pierre. People were like, Alpine went to the school of Mercedes of only posting one driver.
They know. They're just like reinforcing the idea in everybody's head of just like, yeah, he's done. Like, don't think to see him. Going off of you brought up a good point, though.
Sorry, no.
You brought up a good point of giving Gasly the priority for the rest of the year in races and everything. And I did just check. They are tied right now in the driver standings. They both have 1 point each for 17th and 18th. So
that's so sad.
Ocon's technically above Gasly, but they're tied right now. So, yeah, I would be interested to see if Gasly would be getting a little bit. I don't think Pierre would get priority for every weekend here on out, but I could see it getting interesting if it's like Ocon qualifies, let's say 12th, and Pierre is 13th or 14th. And they're like,
they let him up.
Pierre's still going to get the priority because he's close enough to score points. And he's like, but then the point I'm trying to make is like, is then Esteban going to get pissed off with that of like, well, I'm technically higher. Like, I qualified better than him. Why is he getting priority? And then are they going to butt heads? Yeah,
I could definitely see it then. I also can see it like any upgrades Alpine bring, Pierre's getting them first. Esteban gets them the week after. Like, I think that's where I see also priority lie. I think in like a race setting like that, like if Esteban qualifies farther ahead than Pierre, I would give Esteban. I mean, he's the one that qualified better. He had a better qualifying. So like I would keep him ahead. But yeah, no, I think maybe race strategy, or if like one of them needs to pit first, they go with Pierre. But yeah, I definitely see Pierre getting the priority more. But I was going to say, with Esteban's statement, how he said in due course, it makes me wonder, like, that relationship was slowly breaking. And I think Esteban was already out there looking for more options. Like, he's been with that Alpine Renault family for so long.
Yeah.
It's like that relationship with, like, people literally picture, like, when I think of Alpine and Renault, I think of Ocon, like I think of Charles Leclerc and Ferrari, because it was the French team, and Ocon was on the French team forever.
The French.
So yeah, that's what makes me think like that relationship was slowly breaking, and then Monaco was just maybe the snapping, like literally the popping the cork on champagne. But yeah, no, I mean it does suck because like the timing, like he posted that statement, and then like Alpine didn't even. Like, Alpine retweeted it. They did not help him in any situation. So that should have been your number one clue right there.
That's flag number
not
one.
Okay. Yeah. Number two, he literally liked almost everyone's comment under his Instagram comment except for Alpine. So, like, people were like,
those are some pretty, looking at it like that, you're like, all right, this has definitely been brewing for a while, and like you said, the relationship between the two has kind of eroded over time. And I definitely Monaco was 100% the like end of the line point. Like, all right, you took it a step too far. We're gonna like Bruno said, there's going to be consequences. Do I think that the Monaco incident is the downright culprit of them saying, hey, you'll be gone at the end of the year? No. But it definitely was a big it was enough to be like, all right, this is the push we needed to like make a decision.
This goes in before we go to the other weekly news. We did get a question on this from Sabrina on Threads. And the question was, knowing that Alpine and Ocon will part ways at the end of the season, it's a two-part question. What plans do you think he has, and who will pick Alpine for the next season? Like, who fills that seat that now is open?
Who fills that seat?
Suddenly, right now, I mean, Gasly's also up at the end of the year, so they could kick Gasly to the curb, but also, or Gasly could go somewhere else. So they could end up with two seats, but right now they technically have one. But yeah, but also, where do you think Ocon could go? I mean, Ocon's been linked to Audi. I think there was rumors of him to Haas.
I have the rumors from Haas started because AO had said that they have been talking to to Ocon. They said that we've been taught ever since the Nico news broke. They said that we've been talking to a slew of drivers, but Ocon is definitely one of them. Like, they confirmed that. It's definitely, I don't know. I can't see them getting rid of Gasly. I don't think. Listen, Alpine's been pretty bad this year. I don't think they've been bad enough for like a full-on rebuild.
Well, if you think about their rebuilding everywhere else.
That's true. Yeah. But like Gasly is a driver though that like he's shown results.
Yeah.
That, and like you can argue the same for Esteban, but at that point that argument's a moot point now just because it's confirmed that he's gone.
He's gone. So he wasn't chosen. Yeah.
Yeah, so you're right. They chose a side. They chose Gasly. So I could see them re-signing Gasly. I could see it happening soon because marketing, PR is probably like, all right, hey, let's fill the airwaves with some good news. That Pierre is re-signing. Yeah. I can see it happening pretty soon after. But in terms of Ocon, I could see Haas being an option. I could see it being him and Ali on a team. The issue I have with that is once Ali starts proving that he's better than Esteban,
and that would probably happen quick.
It might happen pretty quickly. Do the teammate issues arise again? Is it Esteban being like, I don't like that this guy's better than me, so now my aggression with that feeling is coming out during the race and whatnot and everything, and it's affecting the team negatively. I've seen the Audi rumor. I do think the Audi lineup is possible. I saw I think it was from Mark's article. He was saying that could he go and be a reserve driver somewhere, kind of take the Daniel Ricciardo route and take a step back and then come back in Audi in 2026.
I've seen people saying like, is it time for him to try a different? I've
seen that where it's everything is out there right now, and it's understandably so because it's big news and it's we're so early in the process that people are like, all right, hey, everything is kind of up in the air right now, but it's definitely, yeah. I mean, my most likely bet, I think he'll go to Haas. Yeah, I think that to me is a move that is reasonable. I don't think he's going to Mercedes.
No. I know Toto's his what's it called? His manager, but that's definitely not happening.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to Mercedes. I think between all the troubles he's had and the performance, minus what Grand Prix did he win or get on the podium last year? Was it Monaco?
Monaco.
Yeah, minus that, he hasn't really done much in the past 2 years that have said I deserve a Mercedes seat.
Yeah.
So yeah, I definitely think Haas. To me, Haas is the likeliest landing spot for him.
I was going back and forth with our friend Formula Wa, and obviously she's huge into Formula E, and she was saying she could see Formula E being a good spot for Ocon, and I kind of agree. Like she said it, but like I've watched a few races, and she's like it's very elbows out, like they don't hold back on that track.
Yeah,
and that's his style of driving. So like, could he actually do well in Formula E? Because like they're just like going trying to make any overtake they can get. So like that's what she brought up.
I mean, the size of their cars helps that so much. That is
Yeah, that's
outrageous
what they were
because
able
they're
to.
so much smaller. Like
What was the number? I think they had like 60 overtakes in Monaco. We had like
something,
4.
yeah, like a wild number
Yeah.
compared to the F1 race. I kind of like that. I mean, we've seen the move. We've seen the reverse of the move before. We've seen Formula E come to Formula One, so it's not.
He's back in Formula E, Nick DeVries, but like, yeah, that was a good one. When she brought that up, I was like, oh no, that makes sense. I was like, I do like
that. Does
that
make sense.
theory. For the second part of the question, who do you think Alpine will pick? I think give it to Jack Doohan. It's his time, man. That kid's been waiting in the wings. Like, he's literally just been waiting for his shot. Give him a shot.
So I have 2 answers to this. My one is my reasonable pick, and that's Jack Doohan. I do think that Jack is ready to go and everything, and he will get the spot. However, sorry, I'm checking my email for work too.
No, you went hell.
Sorry, I was doing my Face ID on my phone. That's what I was doing.
I'm clipping that.
Do you want to know my other pick? And this is the less sensible one. And this comes straight from Mark Schofield. I'm giving him entirely the credit for this.
I think I might know what you're going to say.
Mick Schumacher.
Yeah, I was going to say, because he is an Alpine driver at the moment.
He's an Alpine driver in WEC right now. And I forget who it was in the quote that in the article that Mark put out. But he says that he's amazed that Mick is trying to get back into F1. And but the I guess race director or maybe or a team principal or something on the WEC team was amazed at how fast Mick came over and was just integrated in WEC and was able to adapt to that form of racing. So that's my wild pick. I do think it's going to Jack, but I would love this. I'd like to see Mick come back, especially after watching the Schumacher documentary and just knowing more of the story behind the Schumacher family. It's like, get him back in racing. Like, get him back in F1.
I like that Mark started his article off with Abby Pulling, because, why not?
Yeah,
give her a year or two.
There's no reason why it couldn't happen. Yeah.
Someone said today when we were having the conversation on Threads, what if Carlos went there? And I was like, I'm so sorry, Carlos. That's a huge step down if he goes to Alpine.
That'd be a big step down. Yeah.
That seems worse than Williams if he went there.
Yeah, I agree.
I'm trying to bring up that quote. It's Steiner.
Oh, it was Gunther. Yeah.
No, wait. Steiner's opinion aside, Schumacher has F1 experience and has shown versatility as he prepares to drive for Alpine in the WEC. He has won at the F2 level. I think it's Famine. I actually think it was Famine that brought it up.
Was it Bruno?
Yeah.
It was somebody within Alpine. They were like, "Oh yeah, we were amazed by how fast he kind of came over and was good, adapted to the different style of racing and everything." So yeah,
you know what the dream lineup would be, and I wouldn't want to do it for that friendship is Jack Doohan and Mick Schumacher, because they've been
yes.
If you look it up, Mick is literally named after Jack Doohan's dad.
I didn't know that. I'm bringing them up a lot today. I didn't know that until I read Mark's article, and I was like, "Shit, was not aware of that." That's very cool.
And Jack always talks about stuff with Michael and Mick growing up. So that would be a dream pairing. But then does it turn into a Nico Rosberg and Lewis Hamilton? They end up hating each other while they drive, but now they're slowly becoming friends because they were childhood friends. But you wouldn't hope. But
that would be really upsetting if that did happen.
Yeah. But yes, moving on from the Ocon news to today's Checo news. There was so much build up to announce your driver that's already there.
Yeah.
Staying for 2 more years. So if you didn't see Checo, they announced that Checo is signed a 2-year contract extension with Red Bull to take him into 2026. Which is wild, because I thought he was only going to do a 1-year deal, because that was the rumor. He wanted more, and they only wanted to give him 1. But that takes...
Yeah, the 2-year aspect of it was the most surprising part of the announcement.
Yeah, that was definitely... But it also is that takes him 1 year into the regs. I can maybe he wants to go out on top. Does he retire as a Red Bull driver? I can see him staying long, like especially after the Monaco crash. Like that man got checked out, like talked to Red Bull and went home to see his kids. So quick. That was his first thought.
Well, okay, so that crash was pretty bad, so I'm sure it might have been a little bit of like, crap, I was in a really bad crash, like I want to go see my kids and everything. However, that sounds exactly like something on like a Red Bull documentary 5 years from now.
Yep.
When Perez is like, oh yeah, the moment I knew I was done was when I had this crash in Monaco and all I wanted to do was go see my kids. Like,
I mean, he has so many. So like I've seen, I think his one son like plays sports, like his kids are like that age. Like his boys, I think are like that prime age. So I can't see him wanting to be in this sport for much longer. He's in his 30s. I think he's younger than Lewis Hamilton. I'll give you that.
How old is Sergio Perez? He's 34 years. All right, so he was born January 26th. So he'll be 36 when he'll be, because we don't go into January with the next season. So yeah, he'll be 36 when this contract expires.
Yeah, I think
you could see that be like, all right, I'm good.
It just makes you like. First of all, Lewis Hamilton's birthday is the same day as Mom and Dad's anniversary, but Lewis Hamilton is 39 years old.
Wow, what? The man's got an awesome skincare treatment.
Yeah, he does. Yeah, he does.
39 years. Wow.
39 years.
Never would have guessed that.
No, Checo looks like he's much older. But yeah, so Checo is staying, which I was saying it before. We talked about it earlier because so many people thought Carlos was going. That's just one more door shot for Carlos. But it's literally the best choice. Checo is the perfect number 2 driver. Checo understands his role. Checo knows what's expected of him. Bringing in someone like Carlos or bringing in someone else, even if you brought Danny Rick back up to Red Bull, you have to. Those people they're not going to be okay with being a number 2. I mean, Danny Rick wasn't before. Maybe he would be now, but Carlos isn't.
Yep.
so this is perfect.
We've said this before in past episodes and everything, but this was my exact thoughts when I was writing down my reaction to this and writing down for tonight and everything. It is Red Bull right now is built around Max Verstappen. Understandably so. He is the face of Red Bull. He is, maybe besides him and Charles Leclerc, the face of Formula One, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's the thing. Like, I've had people who do not watch F1 ask me, oh, did Max win again? And it's like, yes, he did. People know him.
Last week.
So it only makes sense from a team perspective to sign your second driver who is going to be a support driver for Max. And that's his role. I'm sure there's part of Checo that wants to win Drivers' Championship and wants to beat Max at every race and everything. Absolutely. He's an athlete. He wants the top bill, but I agree with you. He has spent years kind of being molded into this number 2 driver
is used to it.
Max, and he's used to it. And like we said, 2 years ago or last year when he was struggling so much, it felt like because he wasn't fully accepting that role of I'm a number 2 driver. This year feels like he's so much more comfortable in the car and so much more comfortable in his position within the team, and he's performing better because of that. So I definitely think this is the right move by Red Bull. I think, sure, you could have went for a big name like Carlos or something, but I agree with you. I think the issues of who's number 1, who's number 2 would eventually come up if they wouldn't surface right away.
Yeah.
Because, Carlos would be thinking, I'm in Red Bull now. I'm going to be gunning for Drivers' Championship, right away because I have a car and a team that can do that for me, But
I'm also
overall, I think the right move by Red Bull, like I said, the fact that it's 2 years, shocking. It was the most shocking part of it, I was expecting just a 1-year deal for Checo. But I didn't think of it like you said. These might be the last 2 years that we see Checo. He might be like, hey, give me 2 years. After that, like, I'm gonna retire. I'm gonna be good. You guys can sign whoever you want then. And it won't be like, it's not going to be a thing of like, oh, they kicked Checo out and then they're signing somebody else. No, it's give me 2 more years. Let me drive for you guys for 2 more years. That's what I want to do this for. I'll retire. You guys get a new driver. Boom, done.
Yeah, and you don't know what VCarb is going to be doing. So, like, they could be bringing someone else up, and it gives them 2 years to get used to Red Bull, and then they can move them up to be Max, and they're the next. And then Max it's no secret Max doesn't want to drive past, like, 2028, so then he could.
Yeah.
It's like the perfect scenario. I will bring up this because it was a big talking point because people didn't understand why, like, they have so much patience for him. Checo brings. I saw it in multiple places, but Checo brings in almost double his salary in sponsorship money.
He brings in a shit ton of money through sponsorships and merch and everything.
If you look at his sponsorship list, he has Disney, like Kit Kat. The sponsors that man has are huge. Yeah. And that's what people are like, but Carlos, I'm sorry, Carl, if you look, Carlos doesn't have personal sponsors at the moment. That's also probably a reason why Carlos is not getting a seat, because he's not bringing any. Like, yes, people are always like Santander. Santander is a Ferrari sponsor.
Yeah.
So, like, that's the reason. They're not going to throw away money, Red Bull. That's more than Checo's salary. Signing Checo is literally paying for his salary with sponsorship deals. That's how much he brings in. Same with Daniel Ricciardo.
It's absurd, and it's, you have the people, and there's admittedly a part of me that's like, oh, well, you can't, like, that's kind of boring that you're making that signing decision off of that stuff. But, like, that's part of owning and operating in an F1 team. And how many times have we heard that F1 is a money sport? Like, it is, the richer you are, the better you're going to perform. So it's like Red Bull's looking at that, along with the benefits of Checo. Again, going back into this, along with the benefits of Checo being a good number two driver for them, and also seeing like, hey, every penny that we say we're going to pay him is going to come straight up from his sponsors. Like, you're getting a free driver. That's what it is. You're getting Checo is fully funding his entire F1 career by himself, and it's like, okay, like it's too stupid for Red Bull not to do. So again, it makes complete sense why they did it. Like, I understand people's want for Carlos and the fans of Carlos to be like, this is another door now shut on him, and this is, what the hell is Carlos going to do? I really thought he was going to Red Bull and all this stuff. I understand the frustrations behind it, but you look at it like that, like the way that we just kind of laid it out, and it makes too much sense for Red Bull to do it, and it's like,
oh yeah. It also, like, that's what they bring up, like Daniel Ricciardo, and they're like, how is he still in the seat? Like, he's not doing, like, he's not performing well. Same thing. That man has so many sponsors.
He's popular.
He's popular. There was a reason why they literally said a goodbye to him at the end of Drive to Survive that year, because they didn't think he was coming back.
Yeah.
Like, the man has a marketable face and a marketable personality. Yeah. That's the reason they're not going to get rid of him, because then VCarb would be out of that money. So, yeah. That was, I don't think anything else you want to add about. That was a little discussion about both. But
no, I think, I mean, like I said, 2 big pieces of news. You got one driver leaving, one driver staying, and it's, it's just shaking up the driver's market even more of everything that can happen. I do think the market is like dominoes right now, and the moment Carlos Sainz is locked in somewhere, then we're going to see everything else fill out. Because the biggest question right now is where is Carlos going to end up? And it's not that's asking that, it's every other driver and team who's asking that as well. And it's once that's locked in, then the options become so much more solidified for everybody else.
Yeah.
And then it's like, okay, saying this as an example, Williams is off the table. All right, I'm going to go to Haas then, or I'm going to go to Alpine. Like, it makes it so much easier. So, yeah, I think he's the missing puzzle piece right now. And we'll make...
Because when you think about it, he's probably the best driver available to sign.
Yeah.
So...
I would agree with that.
Yeah. But yes, moving on. We'll do a very short, quick Detroit GP recap. First, for IndyCar, first thing I want to say is I'm in love with that double pit lane. Bring it back. Bring it to every race. I need it. I was thinking in my head, like, where could they have done that in an F1 race? Like, I feel like Vegas could have taken that, like, cool, because they built that entire paddock section. It was just cool, especially because, like, they had, like, 2 slow lanes and the 2 fast lanes, so, like, they could come in and then just, like there was 2 cars next to each other. It would just, like, peel off.
It was a very cool design, and it, like, watching it would, like, kind of let these, like, mini races happen of, like, getting out of the pit lane and getting in front of somebody as they're coming out of a pit lane. I did really enjoy it. Yeah, because they said it had 1 lane to enter and 1 lane to exit, but then, like, you went off, branched off. So, yeah, it was literally a race for the fastest pit stop to then go. It was a very chaotic weekend for IndyCar in general. There was action literally in the first practice between no one's favorite, Santucci Ferrucci, and the Andretti boys. There was some comments made. He was under fire. I mean, Colton Herta's interview post practice was so funny. He laughing. He goes, I mean, I don't have a problem with the other boys over there, just one. And he's like, he's a head case. Like, I don't think anyone on that grid likes him. It doesn't sound like it. It definitely, and from what I saw, it definitely, the video lends itself that the guy's maybe not the favorite on the grid.
I have never seen, like, a motorsport community behind, like, not being a fan of someone on Twitter. And that says a lot.
Yeah, that does say a lot.
That says a lot. But yeah, so it was, I think qualifying was fine. Colton Herta got pole position, but then the race happened and it was just chaos from the minute the race started. There was a 5-car pile up on lap 1, like turn whatever. How many cautions did there end up being? Like
8.
Yeah,
8. I'll say. I really struggled with this race. I said this to you one day when we were with each other, and I was like, people said that Monaco was boring. This IndyCar race was boring to me.
People literally hate that Detroit is the first race after the 500 because normally I don't think anyone likes that track. It's like, I mean, they were some skinny streets.
It did not have a lot of room to maneuver. I mean, but it just felt like you have that 5-car pile up in the first lap. They finally figure it out. They get going again. There's a green flag, right? They're diving into the first turn. Oh, there goes another person spinning out, or into the runoff area. And then it's like, okay, now we're gonna do another 5 laps under caution, and then it's all right, green, and then it's oh shit, there goes another person spinning out, or like oh, there was contact in the rear, and there's another 3-car pile up, and then you're like, fuck, and then it starts raining. So then it's and it's not like enough rain.
Yeah.
Right. It's not enough rain where all the teams are like, come in, put on wet tires.
Yeah, because Colton Herta didn't, I don't think. He stayed out.
Oh, it was like you heard over the radio, like drivers were saying, like, is it enough to come in? Is it not enough? Like, is it gonna stop? And they're like, we didn't have anything on the radar. Like what? Literally one of the radars was like, or the radios was like, why do we not have anybody on the radar? And they were like, we do. It's just not on the radar.
Well, they showed the radar on the TV broadcast, and there was literally no rain on the map over Detroit. Like there was nothing.
It was really hard for me to watch because it was just like every time I felt like I looked at it, I was like, oh, they're under another caution flag. Oh, they're under another caution flag.
A caution is basically like a red flag. They almost stop and then they restart the race. It's not like it's a yellow flag to keep going behind a safety car. They fully come in. But there's something now. I've said it before after I went to St. Pete. There's something about an Indy car rolling start. It's so cool to watch.
It's a lot of fun to watch because it's like F1 starts. The flat starts are awesome because you're getting those cars with their quickness of let me get up to as fast as I can to maybe overtake some people diving into the first turn. Indy cars straight line speed are just fucking maniacal.
They're so fast,
in terms of speed. So it's seeing them roll through to all 28 cars, 26 cars, whatever it is, just fly past you. You're like, whoa! You're like, this is fucking cool. But I mean, it's definitely. Yeah, I would love to go see one of those in person because seeing that in person and seeing it's very cool how the drivers like lining up on the grid, for an F1 race, just know where to organize themselves into those two lines at the start and then they go. It's like,
because they do a few warm up laps and then they it's literally like that Madeline school the book. They literally get into two single file lines perfectly and then they just keep following each other. But yeah, seeing it. Obviously, when we went to Miami, we could hear the start, but because we were at the start-finish line in St. Pete, and seeing them come through is so cool. Just
it's got to be,
yeah, because they come around that last corner just a little slow, and then all of a sudden you just see them all pick up speed just and go
on it. Yep.
Yeah,
that's so cool.
Yeah, but after all the cautions, we did have a race winner. It was Scott Dixon. He's the first. Two-time winner of the season. He's also now the new points leader in IndyCar. We also had Marcus Armstrong on the podium for the first time, which was cool. He's been in F2 and stuff. He has that Screaming Mills podcast, or he's been on that Screaming Mills podcast with fellow F2 F3 drivers.
Marcus Armstrong or Marcus Ericsson?
No, Marcus Ericsson. No, it was Armstrong. Marcus Ericsson is in Indy, but
I may be getting mixed up between this Detroit GP and what I'm watching on 100 Days of Indy. I might be getting that a little confused in my head.
And because Marcus Ericsson is Charles Leclerc's ex-teammate from his Sauber years. Ericsson was in F1.
That's right. Right. I was wondering why I recognized the name. And I was like...
He won the Indy 500 a few years ago, very soon after. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. That makes sense.
Yeah. When Charles' first year in F1, his teammate was Marcus Ericsson. So
yeah.
But yes. So that was Detroit GP, was a good one. They are back this weekend, I think they have.
I think it is this weekend. And then totally different categories. I was going to say this weekend, and then next weekend's 24-hour Le Mans. That's totally different category.
Yeah, so this weekend is the Grand Prix at Road America. They're in Wisconsin this weekend. But yeah, no, next weekend. State. Yeah, the Cheese State. Next weekend is 24 hours of Le Mans, and there's a few IndyCar drivers doing 24 hours. So there's Romain Grosjean's doing it. Alex Palou's doing it. I think Callum Illa is also in there. There's a few other ones that are in it because each car has 3 drivers for 24 hours. So yeah, that'll be interesting to watch. But yes, that was Detroit GP.
Detroit, the Motor City.
That looked like a good one to go because Tasia was there, and that one looked. And Ellie.
Yeah, some of her videos. It looked really cool.
I know I want to watch her full interview with Theo Pourchaire.
Yeah, I
saw pork chops.
I saw her post that. I wanted to watch it too.
Yeah.
All right, history with Owen.
History with Owen. Cue the
history
music.
with Owen. Cue the music. I don't have my graduation cap with me.
You haven't worn your graduation cap in forever.
I know. It's for the OGs.
JT, what's wrong? What's happening to turn around and he's fixing his contact.
Oh, eye stuff. Right, so last week we obviously had the Monaco GP, and we had the first Monegasque driver win it in 93 years. So that got me thinking. And
it's a whole lifetime for someone.
It is a whole lifetime for someone. Literally, oh my God, could you imagine? You're born the year that it happens, and then you're 93 when you see it happen again. But yeah, so I was inspired by Charles to ask the question of who was the last Canadian to win the Canadian GP. Casey, we were talking about this last night a little bit.
Is that right?
You were correct.
Mm-hmm.
It is. I'm gonna butcher the last name. I'm gonna butcher the full name. I'm very sorry.
It's because of French.
Gilles Villeneuve.
Villeneuve. I think it's
Villeneuve.
Mm-hmm.
So it's Gilles Villeneuve. I sound so stupid saying that.
This is actually history with Owen. Just listening to Owen pronounce it.
I don't know. I can't even. I'm just gonna call him Gil. There we go. I'm gonna call him Gil for short. Make it easier on myself. So yes. So Gil was the last Canadian to win the Canadian GP. That race took place in 1978. And since then, there has been no other winner who is Canadian. He was also the first and only Canadian to win it.
Oh.
So he's the only Canadian native to win the Canadian GP right now. So I did a little research on it, history lesson about that race itself. A couple things that I learned too was the Canadian GP that he won was the first Canadian GP to be held at the Circuit des Îles Notre Dame. Circuit Îles Notre Dame.
Where they race now.
Then. Yes, where they race now. Years later, after his win and everything, and after his death, I believe, I could be wrong about that, it was renamed to Circuit Villeneuve.
I'll say it's named after him.
Yeah. So that was the original name of the circuit. It was originally going to be held at the Mosport Park Circuit, which was near Toronto, but it was then moved to Montreal just because of safety concern and stuff like that. The one thing I found funny about this too is in reading about this, I found out that Mario Andretti was actually quoted before race weekend saying that the circuit was designed in favor for Gil and was pretty much like, I guess, like stirring up a thing of like, oh, we're moving here and it's a circuit designed for Gil. But he then later said, like, I'm not criticizing the people who designed the track. I'm criticizing the people who sign off on the track, and they're known as FOCA. I think he was, kind of covering his tracks a little bit, but also saying too, like, if they were French Canadian or if they were Canadian, being there saying like,
they're gonna be like,
this fits
let the
Gil.
homeboy.
So weekend starts and it is just crappy weather. It is rain the entire weekend. It's not Makes good. Sense. Cars were sliding on and off the track all the time. They're going into runoff areas that were so muddy that when they were getting brought back to the paddock, they were covered in mud, the cars. And the east end of the paddock eventually became known as a car wash just for that weekend because so many cars were sliding off and just getting muddied. So the entire weekend, the rain is going, and it was enough rain that it factored into how the grid lined up come qualifying day. It was kind of the same thing, like kind of what we have said a lot last year, where it was like, oh, maybe if there's rain, then maybe Max won't get pole. It was enough to kind of mess with everything, and cars that were normally on the front were not normally on the front, and other cars had the chance to kind of capitalize on that. So in top three, we had Jenna-Pierre Jarry. He was in P1. He was driving a Lotus. P2 was Jody Scheckter of Wolf Racing. Now, I did a little side thing of Wolf Racing and who that was and what they were. So it was the full team name was known as Walter Wolf Racing, and it was a team that existed from 1977 to 1979 and was founded by a Canadian, Walter Wolf. The team was based in Reading, United Kingdom, but they raced under a Canadian license, so that's why they're technically a Canadian team. Cool. So then I looked in, I was like, okay, so who was Walter Wolf? And all I really got was he was a Canadian businessman, he was super rich, and he wanted an F1 team, so he started Wolf Racing. And I said it's kind of like he feels like the 70s version of Lawrence Stroll, of just like, I'm a businessman with uber amounts of money and I want an F1 team. So we had, like I said, we had Jarry driving in P1 in the Lotus. We had Jody in P2. And then we had, can you pause the recording?
We're back.
That's good news. Sorry about that. Got a work call.
What wasn't work call?
Wasn't work call. Thought it was. Thought I had to fix something. So what I was saying, we had P1 was Jarry. We had P2 was Jody Scheckter. And P3 was Villeneuve.
Gil?
I thought I wrote that down, but maybe I didn't. So off the start, Jury stays in P1, but Alan Jones of Williams, who started in P5, had an awesome start and jumped up to P2. This then made the order Jury, Jones, Scheckter, and Gil. So Gil was P3. Sorry. I don't know why I didn't write that down. So race is going on. There's a whole bunch of moves happening behind the top four, but nothing really that affected them. And at this point, Jury was channeling his future Max Verstappen and had built a gap of 20 seconds between him and the cars.
Like Jones, his future Max Verstappen.
he was channeling future Max Verstappen. Jones, who was still in second place, was holding up Scheckter and Gil. He was kind of driving a little slow. They couldn't get around them. They were having some issues, especially with the rain. Eventually, on lap 18, Scheckter was able to make it through, and then subsequently on lap 19, Gil also made it through. So then on lap 25, Gil then had the pace. He was apparently very quick during this race in his Ferrari. He passed Scheckter and then moved up to P2 behind Jury. So with that, everything's going well at this point. Things have kind of calmed down, whatnot. It's Jury and Gil's right behind him, and it's looking like Jury is going to win his first ever race. And it's like, people are like, this is happening. This is awesome. He's going to win his race, blah, 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 right? He then loses every single bit of oil pressure he has in the car and has to retire. And it's kind of like a lackluster ending for such a maybe big thing. But because of that, he had to retire the car. That was on lap 52. And then Gil had nobody in front of him and just went on to win the race. When he ended, the gap to Scheckter, who I also found out would then next year become his teammate at Ferrari, was 13 seconds. So he had a pretty big big gap to Scheckter when he crossed the finish line and everything. So yeah, so Gil Villeneuve, however the hell you say his name, the first and only Canadian to win the Canadian GP. Like we said earlier, the circuit was then at some point, I read this earlier today, I just didn't write it down. Some point then renamed after him. And yeah, as of right now, he's the only Canadian to do it. So
interesting.
We have Lance Stroll, who could do it. He could do it, but that would be an act of God if that happened.
An act of God. Yeah.
So, but yes, that is history with Owen on who was the first and only Canadian to win the Canadian GP.
I liked it. That was a good one. I love that the Canadian Grand Prix, they have the Wall of Champions at the track, which is so cool. To walk. I feel like every track should have that. But yes, Canadian GP. Continuing on that, our previews.
Canada, eh?
Now, like Owen's history with Owen, there is a chance of rain almost the entire weekend in Canada. Yes. It's that time of the year for this part of the country. It could rain every day. It could rain for half the day. It could start out cold and end hot. It's just that time of the year. But yes, so it could be an interesting weekend. Normal weekend. As we've mentioned before, we have our watch party on Sunday for the race. Watch party. And as we said before,
I'm so excited for this.
It's the same. I'm very excited. It will be at the Human Robot Schuylkill location in Philadelphia. It's bring your own food. You can bring whatever food you like. We'll have some snacks. We can bring whatever you want. And then, they have, obviously, you have different drinks and everything. We'll watch the race. Hopefully it's a good one.
I did find out today that there is a pizza place right nearby that apparently is like the go-to spot.
Okay, cool.
If you're a fan of pizza, there's a spot right near there.
Nice. All right, good to know. But yes, hopefully it's a good race. Fingers crossed. Hopefully we know some of our friends and stuff coming, but hopefully we have some other fans of the show or people that follow us coming. That'll be cool to meet some people in real life.
Be a blast.
Yeah, but yes, so we will. I posted this earlier. I said, does anyone else get excited when a race is in your time zone, or is it just me? And then people were like, yes, no, I think, trust me, I love an 8 a.m., 9 a.m. race because I have the rest of the day. But it's literally the best time to watch a race, but like it's welcome change when the race is in our time zone. But then like for like news aspects, I'm not waking up and missing something because the teams are in this time zone also. So news isn't breaking at 4:00 in the morning for us. It's breaking at
everything's
2 in the afternoon. Like it's easier for me to handle. I'm not waking up and literally looking at my phone and be like, what did I miss? What did I miss?
Yes.
But yes.
I love the Sunday morning races.
Same.
It's so nice. You get right up, you make a cup of coffee, you sit down, and then you're like, let's fucking go racing. And it's like
the races are awesome. 11. You still have the entire day to do what you need to do. Yeah.
Oh, it's so good.
It is a treat. Like, I will not complain about having early morning races because, like,
no,
there's nothing better. But yes, so our preview, like we said, there are our predictions. 1 through 4, or should we just go back? No, let's stick with 1 through 4 because we've been able to get some good.
We've been hitting the 1 through 4, so let's stick there. Okay. Do you want to go first or me?
I can go first.
Okay.
So my full delusion worked for Monaco.
You did. Wait, we didn't call that out either. That was the first time a Delulu pick came true. Yeah, I still in disbelief that it came true. And Charles Leclerc posted his like Monaco vlog today, and I watched the whole thing again, and I'm like, it still happened. I was like, it literally happened. I'm gonna watch that one. How long is it?
11 minutes. But there's some cute moments with like Leo's in there. And then the best is like he's leaving to go to the track, and he like looks at the clock. He's like, "Oh, I have 2 minutes." Sits down, starts playing on the piano, and Andrea's in the background like, "Are you for real? Like, what's happening?"
You gotta
go. It's like you gotta go. It's a good one, and they have like his family and stuff. Like Joris, his best friend, his like assistant. When I tell you, sobbing when he won. He was crying more than his mom. Like his mom like turns around and like is like patting him on the back, but yeah, sobbing. No, it's a really good vlog. But yes, the full Delulu pick won.
It worked.
And I might go full Delulu again because Canada tends to be very bumpy, and the Red Bulls have been struggling with bumpy tracks. Yes. And apparently, I swear I saw this, so I could be wrong, that this track has been fully resurfaced.
It is. It has been fully resurfaced. Correct.
And we have our favorite spectators, the groundhogs. We get to go groundhog spotting on. Was that last year, like the CT, like the cameras were broken on the track? So the entire FP1, they just kept showing like the groundhogs. we got a whole FP1 and they didn't do any running.
I think so. I think it was Canada last year. Jeez,
okay.
I forgot all about that.
It's like choose your like the lesser of two evils. You want the groundhogs or like the dragon things across the road in Singapore? I'd rather have the groundhogs.
Yeah. Yeah, show me the groundhogs, please.
Yeah. So yeah, I might keep going with this like hype train Delulu. So I'm gonna go Charles P1. I'm also gonna continue. I'm gonna go Oscar P2.
Okay. I like it.
Let's do Max P3.
Okay.
And then I'm gonna throw Lewis P4.
Charles, okay.
Oscar, Max, Lewis.
Okay. I like that. I do really like. I think that's a solid couple picks. Yeah. Mm-hmm. You have your Delulu follow the heart kind of pick a little bit, but
now it like seems real. If they're gonna have Rebels continue having issues.
Listen, if you would have when we were making our picks last year and you said Charles Leclerc is winning, it was both of us knew you making the pick as well, saying like this isn't going to happen. We're at the point in the season now where it's like, fuck, this could happen.
This could happen. Yeah.
I am going to continue the delusional picks, but again, it could happen. I'm going to go Mr. Oscar Leclerc in P1. He's
on fire.
He's on the hunt, man. He wants it. And I think after seeing Lando win, and I think especially after seeing Charles win and having that confidence like that we're all experiencing of it's doable to beat Red Bull.
Red Bull's
I think he's gunning for it. And I do like his quote. I think, yes, it was his quote from Mark's article. Again, bringing up Mark. That like McLaren can be quick in a lot of tracks now. We've had two tracks that come to mind. I'm thinking Monaco and Shanghai, where they were like, we're not going to perform that well.
And they were
still
good.
did pretty damn good. So I'm feeling they could be quick in a lot of different places. So yeah, I'm going to go Oscar P1. I will go because I think he's coming back with a vengeance. I think Max is going to get P2.
Okay.
I will say then I am going to go Lando P3 because I have to. And I'm stuck right now on which Ferrari to make P4. I'm stuck on that. So I'm going to play it safe to counter out the Oscar P1 delusionalness. I'm going to say some Ferrari P4. That's what I'm going to go with.
Yeah, that makes sense.
One of them getting P4. But yeah,
this
so
also
Oscar,
might be Sorry, go ahead.
Oscar, Max, Lando, Ferrari.
Oscar, Max, Lando, Ferrari. This also, I feel like, might be the first show where we can be totally confident in saying not Max P1.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like you said, the track is getting resurfaced, so that might help with a little bit of the bumpiness and everything, but it is a bumpy track. And I mean, Max has had a couple radios this year where he's gone over curbs and he says, like, I think it was Monaco. I think it was last week where he had the one where he went over a curb and he was like, I was almost like knocked out.
Yeah.
Because of the way the car like jerked as he went over a curb. So, and I mean, Montreal is literally just all straights right into chicanes. That's all it is. You literally are really like flying down a straight, you hit a chicane, and then you go right back into another straight.
Oh my god, that McLaren's gonna take off. Yeah.
So we could see an issue of Max just gets the angle a little bit wrong, or if he's having his troubles with the car. Like I said, I would not be shocked, although I'm saying Oscar P1, I would not be shocked if Max gets P1 and comes back. Like I said, he's continuing he has stayed with the trend of he loses out on P1, he gets P1 the next race. So I'm gonna stick with that happening, but I do think Oscar's gunning for it, and he's been so fast recently. Yeah. He's moving. So
can we talk about the last two races? Max has lost start with an M, and Montreal still starts with an M.
Montreal still starts with an M.
But it's also Charles Leclerc doesn't have any more songs written about a track, and every track Charles Leclerc has written a song about, someone else was one. You have Carlos, you have Lando, you have himself.
Yep.
I need him to re-release a new album with the entire calendar.
Just the whole thing.
The whole thing. Every track. Because it's a weird coincidence.
It is very weird. But yeah, that's my predictions.
Our predictions. And give me some rain. Most people get freaked out by the rain. We haven't had it yet. Give me some rain. Yeah. Give me some rain. Give me some rain.
I could go for some rain. You know who needs the rain? Because they need at least one per season? Netflix.
Yeah, they do need one per season.
Netflix needs a good rain race to showcase and Drive to Survive.
They're not short of any drama so far, so.
It's fair, yeah. Yeah, but they always have the one race in the season where it's like, this race
they make for the coolest shots.
Yeah, well, yeah, they make for great shots, but I feel like it's also Netflix's way of like reminding people, like, hey, that like rain does affect this sport. Like, as dumb as that sounds, it's just like, hey, rain happens.
Yeah. Well, first, besides the fact that if it rains, it's going to be a cool weekend. It's like 60 degrees.
Yeah.
So the chance of rain on Sunday during the day is 60%.
Wow.
Same thing for Saturday during quality, 60%. And Friday, same thing, 60%. So there is a 60% chance of rain the entire weekend. So yeah, give me some rain. Please and thank you, Canada. But yes, I think that's all we have for today. Knew it was going to be a shorter one. We will be back. You have anything else to add before I close this out?
I have nothing.
All right.
Send us out.
Back next week to recap Canada. Probably time-wise, we'll have to watch Indy highlights or watch that race a second, after the fact. So we'll probably preview or recap that a little bit. Yeah, we'll recap Canada. I don't think we can talk about Le Mans maybe a little bit. we're gonna do some because that'll be leading up. There's no. I thought Spain and Canada for some reason was back to back, but it's not. But yes, we'll recap Canada, recap Road America, talk about Le Mans maybe a little bit, and we'll get to talk about our watch party. So, like we said, watch party Sunday for the Canadian Grand Prix. Race starts at 2 p.m. You can come anytime before that. We're probably gonna be there like 1. Bring your own food, as you said. They have drinks there. We'll have a good time. Get to meet some of you. But yes, our socials have been at the bottom. Please give us a follow, like, subscribe, give us a comment wherever you listen to our podcast. As always, please use the code Underground10 if you want some sick artwork like this or a mug that Owen's going to buy. But yes, thank you so much for joining us, and we will be back next week. See ya.